Hello, welcome, Talking Sense. I'm Ben. Today we're going to be having a look at the first three of the All Saints fragrances. So yeah, All Saints, they've just released their perfume line. Well, I say just, it's not that just. I would think probably about a year, 6 months ago. They released these first three, Metal Wave, Incense City and Sunset Riot. They've just released another two, Flora Mortis and I think Leather City it's called. I don't have those two, I just have the first three. They're really reasonably priced. They're sort of designer range. So you're looking at kind of about, I think they're about 45-ish pounds in England, and I think about $70-ish. So yeah, it's about kind of like, you know, mid-range designer prices. Yeah, let's get started. Which one first? Let's go with Sunset Riot first. Oh, chucking stuff on the floor already. So yeah, we got Sunset Riot, which is pink pepper, cedarwood, and orange flower. I think are the three notes that it lists. Let's give it a go, I guess. It's a nice opening. It's actually a really nice opening. The cedar's definitely there, but it's not like a pencil shaving cedarwood. It's quite rough. There's something a little bit sickly in there, but it's very like alcohol. Smells very much like some kind of alcoholic sort of cocktail. In that sense that it's got something a little bit kind of like gaggy in the back. You know that you get those alcoholic cocktails and they're sort of like uber kind of dense and sweet. I sort of feel like this has something like that going on. Like that if you huff the cocktail really close to your nose, you'd get that similar kind of like kind of like a little bit sort of burnt sugary kind of feel to it. But it's not super unpleasant. I think it's quite nice. I think it might be the orange flower and the cedar. Like the orange flower has this kind of slight watery feel to it. So it's feels quite fluid. And then the cedar is quite nice, but there's some sort of sugariness in between those, like a kind of vanillic sugar, burnt sugar sort of vibe between them. It's not unattractive, very chemically. It's got kind of a toe in that sort of bit like Baccarat Rouge 540 sort of chemical comfort kind of vibe. But I don't think it's like a clone or anything like that. It's nowhere. It's not that close at all. It's just a feel to it. But yeah, that's that. So it sort of opens with a very sort of watery orange flower, slight kind of quite rough cedar, and it's got a slight sort of chemical cotton candy burnt sugar vibe. Not unpleasant. Let's move on and we'll sort of come back. So Metal Wave what is Metal Wave? This one is juniper berry, magnolia, and papyrus, which I like papyrus scents. I like that note. It's quite nice. Kind of most well known, I guess, is Bulgari Pour Homme Soir. It's in that. Oh, this one's nice. I like this. It's I don't get any of those notes that I just read. Actually, what did I say they were? So obviously there was the papyrus, magnolia, and juniper. It smells like something familiar though. Fatal Charm. It reminds me a little bit of Fatal Charm by Xerjoff. It's got that similar velvet silkiness that Fatal Charm's got. Very similar. That kind of vague floral velvety vanillic feel in the middle. This is really reminding me of that, and it smells like a cheaper version of Xerjoff Fatal Charm, which is no bad thing really, because Fatal Charm is amazing, but it very much very close. Very close to Fatal Charm. I think Fatal Charm is definitely a level up, but it's very close. So Intensity, cedarwood, incense, and cypress. I assume this is going to be all incense. With that name, you would sort of assume. But let's give it a go. Ooh. So yeah, it is all incense, but it's fresher than you might imagine for an incense scent. It's actually quite fresh. It feels quite light and airy, and quite almost like summery. Again, it's reminding me of something. Sergio Zafiro. So if you've seen my review on Sergio Zafiro or not, it's a very austere incense that's a sort of Alemi frankincense, very rigid, quite. This one's a bit kind of, I feel, compared to Zafiro, because Zafiro is very austere and rigid, and I would say quite high, kind of classy kind of vibe, like dressy up. This feels a little bit less dressy because it's not quite so heavy and dense. It's a little bit lighter. I think probably, being a budget version, it's got that kind of lightness that comes along with that, which is why sometimes I really like kind of budget versions of other scents, like sort of budget clones. I can really get with that, because sometimes they're just lighter and easier to wear. And I think this is the case here as well. I think this is a slightly lighter, easier to wear version of Zafiro. I mean, I love Zafiro, so and I've got a massive 100ml bottle of it, so I don't need this. But if you like the sound of Zafiro, but it might be a little bit heavy for you, or a little bit kind of classy and rigid, this one is basically exactly the same smell, but slightly lighter. And yeah, Metal Wave. It's Fatal Charm. Completely. Absolutely 100% Fatal Charm. But Sunset Riot, this is a different one to me. It has now it's dried down a little bit. That orange blossom is smelling a little bit like sort of suntan lotion, shampoo sort of feel. Got quite a beach vibe to it. It has like that slight aquatic beach vibe. It's nice. I like it. I say, judging by those other two, I assume this is also a clone, because I'm going to go ahead and straight away say those two are more or less clones. They're almost precise copies of the Xerjoffs. So I assume this is a clone of something, but I don't know what it is. But it's nice. I like it. This is the one that I would probably, it's the only one I would buy out of any of these, because I've got the other two. But yeah, otherwise, just a quick run through if you're not familiar with the scents that it is. So Metal Wave, so it smells like Fatal Charm. What that smells like is a kind of vaguely floral, very velvety, silky floral woods. Fatal Charm is much deeper than this, but this is nice. It's really nice. It has that same kind of velvet floral sort of vibe to it that is the real kind of selling point for Fatal Charm for me. Doesn't have any of the kind of spices and sort of the metallic edge that Fatal Charm's got, which some people might prefer. It has like a nice sort of vanillic undertone, and slight, say, like wood, sort of cedar underneath that. It's really nice. It's a really nice scent. Say it is a clone of Fatal Charm, but there's nothing bad thing really, because it's a budget Fatal Charm, which I'll take that any day. Incense City, it's again like a budget Zafiro. It doesn't have a lot of the richness of Zafiro, which is what sets it apart. It's where you might wear this one over the other, because this feels a little bit more playful and a little bit more casual, because Zafiro is quite rich and dense. But basically it's a rich, dense kind of lemmy and like frankincense, very austere, sort of churchy frankincense sort of smell. It's really nice, but I do think Zafiro is much better. It just because it's much richer, much denser. But in a way, I think that does work in this one's favour. Like if you like Zafiro, but you want to just chuck something on and not feel so sort of heavy and oppressed by Zafiro, because Zafiro can get a little oppressive sometimes, it would work. And finally, Sunset Riot. Yeah, it smells sort of suntan lotiony, beachy, slight aquatic ozonic kind of vibe in there, but it smells, I think, closest sort of thing that it does have vibes of Maison Margiela Beach Walk in it, but not quite. But it's got that similar ozonic kind of aquatic kind of feel that Beach Walk has, and that almost like sand kind of feel, like salt air kind of feel, like a real kind of beachy feel. But otherwise, it's quite nice. I do quite like it. Overall, I think they're all really nice. I do think clearly those two are clones, and probably the third one is a clone that I don't know of what. But I think they're really nice. I might buy Metal Wave as a sort of backup to my Fatal Charm, because Fatal Charm's getting like harder and harder to get hold of. So that might not be a bad idea. But yeah. But otherwise, I probably wouldn't buy Incense City, because I would just wear Zafiro. I'm not really interested in a kind of cheaper version of Zafiro. But I would possibly buy Sunset Riot. They're quite nice overall. So that's All Saints, really. Yeah, a couple of clones. If anyone has Sunset Riot or they've smelt it and they know what it's a clone of, chuck it in the comments, because, like I say, I've no doubt that it's a clone when you compare the other two that are also clones to my nose. So yeah, all right, cheers. Thanks very much.